In this video, we will talk about how to achieve good pacing in your novel. Hi, my name is Jess Bagnall and I'm an urban horror author. Most writers will know that pacing is important, whether in a short story, a novel, or across an entire series. But what exactly is pacing? Why is it so important? And how can you make sure you master it in whichever kind of story you're writing? Pacing in fiction refers to the speed of which a story unfolds, its rhythm, its flow, the rise and fall of its plot points and events. Basically, it's how quickly or slowly you're telling the story to the readers. Though it is also much more than that. Well-considered controlled pacing is important because without it, a story will feel uneven and disjointed. Parts of that are too fast, risk rushing readers through and losing the impact, while parts are too slow, risk boring them. It's important to balance faster and slower paced section in your work to create a story that flows seamlessly, develops plot, characters effectively, engages readers consistently. Let's go through 5 ways to help you achieve good structured story and pacing. Number 1, break down the story structure. Whether you have an outline or a plan for your story, or you've already completed your first draft, one way to work out how pacing should flow is to break the story down and examine the pieces closely. Scrivener's screenwriting chapter cards are usually a way to do this, but you can also handwrite or type out basic breakdown yourself. All you need is the main events, the narrative mapped out in order they occur. For those of you that don't know, Scrivener is a writer's tool for mapping out a novel, and it's not the only program on the market out there. Also, this is not an ad for Scrivener. But doing this will help you see where you need to increase the pace, ramp up the tension, where you can afford to slow things down a little, and how the narrative rises and falls over the course of the entire story. It will also allow you to see whether the pace is uneven or inconsistent in places and identify where or how you can smooth it out. If your story follows a common structure, as the 3-act structure that I've talked about before, breaking it down to its components will make it easier to identify where the high, low, fast, slow points usually happen in these types of stories. Number 2, use sentence and paragraphs and chapter lengths to influence the pace. Of one of the easiest ways to control pacing in your story is to lengthen and shorten your sentences and paragraphs and chapters. In a fight scene, for example, you want to keep things fast-paced and exciting. To achieve this, you use short, choppy sentences, shorter paragraphs to keep the reader's eyes flying over the words. Perhaps in the end of the chapter, leave a cliffhanger that'll have them flipping the pages, desperate to find out what happens next. In a slower paced section, on the other hand, perhaps one where you want to delve deeper into the character, longer sentences and paragraphs will be more effective. Number 3, use heightened detail when you want to slow things down. We've discussed this before in my other videos. Another way to slow down pacing, especially for a single moment that you want to highlight, is to heighten the attention to detail. Think of a slow motion movie shot. This kind of shot amps up the focus on each individual aspect, the visual aspect, allowing the viewer experience a single moment in exquisite detail. You can utilize a similar technique and achieve a similar effect in your writing. Number 4, use introspection to develop the character and control pace. Never forget that the character's development is just as important as the plot development in fiction. An exciting plot is all well and good, but it will mean nothing to the reader if they don't understand and care about the characters involved in it. You need to be able to connect. Characters' development through introspection can reveal motivations, provide understanding and a sense of empathy, and overall help the you craft believable characters. Introspection slows down the pacing of the story, but this is done deliberately and carefully as a counterpoint to fast-paced scenes. It can be extremely effective. Techniques like internal monologue and stream of consciousness can work well here, provided they're utilised in the right place. In the middle of an action scene, for example, isn't the best place to launch into a long paragraph of character thoughts. It distracts from the reader. When done right, diving into a good point of view character's mind is a great way to control the pace of the story while contributing to the development into a fully fleshed out character. Number 5, don't assume good pacing means fast paced. One final tip or warning: never assume that in order to master pacing in your story you must make everything fast paced. This is a common misconception. While many stories whose fast pacing is off can be put down to slower or boring sections, just as many find trouble when pacing is too fast or when there is no slow down sections at all. Yes, part of mastering pacing is ensuring the story doesn't lag and readers don't get bored, but the answer isn't making every single scene fast paced. To sum up pacing, you need an understanding of all of these things and to be able to pull them together to allow yourself good pacing. I use the 3-act structure with subplots. We've discussed this in many of my videos. However, this includes good editing and copy editing. I hope you've enjoyed this video on story pacing. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out my books. I currently have 4 anthologies out as of now and many more coming in the next year. All the links and descriptions below. Don't forget to check out my latest videos on paranormal true stories. Stay tuned for more writing advice.